Well, hello and welcome to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Earnings Express. Well, this weekend we'll have two banks reporting their numbers, ICICI Bank as well as Kotak Bank. Now, so far the report card from the private banking sector has been pretty robust. We've had HDFC Bank report a stellar set of numbers. IndusInd Bank also saw great earnings. So let me get on board my colleague Aparna Iyer, who will be putting into perspective what we can expect from these two banks over the weekend. Now, Aparna, as I was mentioning, HDFC Bank saw a great set of numbers. Net interest income was somewhere around at a 14-quarter high. Margins were also in excess of 4%. That's a 10-quarter high. When it comes to ICICI Bank, do you expect this bank to outshine its peers? Do you expect it to continue this trend of a good set of numbers in the third quarter?
Yeah, hi Nandita. So yes, the general consensus among brokerages when we had conversations with them seems to be in the market that ICICI Bank will outshine its peers, and it has been doing so for several quarters now. So on a poll of say 7 brokerages, the average estimate for net profit for ICICI Bank comes to 7,994 crore, which is a growth of 29% year on year for the lender. This will be on the back of a healthy growth of 28% in net interest income. Now ICICI's trajectory in earnings has been compared to its peers, even HDFC Bank, IndusInd Bank and others, has been superior, and we have seen that reflect in the share price of the lender as well.
Sure.
So this quarter is going to be no different. It is going to report stellar numbers. What will be watched is what commentary that the management give in terms of the margins ahead, the cost of funds ahead, because of what we are seeing on the deposit front for banks.
Aparna, since you mentioned cost of funds, we
Yes.
saw banks undertake quite a few deposit rate hikes in the quarter gone by, right?
Yes.
So will that mean a significant rise in cost of funds for ICICI Bank or
so
any
for
other private
ICICI Bank, it has a very strong branch network. It has a pedigree. It has a very strong liabilities book. It also has a reasonably high CASA proportion of it, which is your low cost current and savings account deposits. So in that sense, even if it has hiked deposit rates following the other banks as well, the impact on margins and even on cost of funds will be limited for this quarter. Hence, as I said earlier, what the management says in terms of how NIMs will pan out or how cost of funds will move from here on, that is a key to watch for.
Sure. What about asset quality? Do you see a reduction in fresh slippages for ICICI Bank?
We saw a reduction in fresh slippages last few quarters as well, and that trend is expected to continue. I mean, frankly, asset quality is a thing of a past for discussion purposes as far as ICICI
because
is
the worst
concerned.
is kind of over for some of these banks.
Two, they reported a gross NPA ratio of 3.9%, which is very low. I remember times when it was close to 7-8%.
7-8%, right. So let's talk about Kotak Bank. That's another bank that will be reporting its earnings tomorrow. Do you think, what should one watch out for when it comes to management commentary from the Kotak Bank? What will be the focus for this bank going forward? Because they have been focusing on their digital strategy for quite some time. So do you expect them to continue that focus? And what are you also factoring in when it comes to their profit growth?
So our poll of brokerages, I will just lead with the numbers basically. So net profit for Q3 is seen at 2,593 crores, which is 22% growth year on year. So that is quite a strong growth. Kotak as a bank has been very conservative in the past, and that has worked for them. But they are now coming on to, not very aggressively, but they are coming on to the lending fora in a little bit more. They are shedding a little bit of their conservatism and lending to small businesses, to unsecured retail and so on. Kotak has one of the highest CASA ratios, and which is why their cost
CASA
of funds
is the cheapest source of funds for banks. Let me just clarify, as in, for the sake of our viewers.
Exactly. So the proportion of current and savings account is very high for Kotak as well. So in that sense, for Kotak Bank also, the story is very similar to other banks, including ICICI, which we spoke about. The cost of funds impact will be very limited. It will increase. That's what brokerages expect eventually. Again, the management's commentary on that will be looked forward. What the market actually wants from Kotak is to lend more and to actually, go ahead and outshine its, at least meet its peers in the way aggressively lending is being done, because this is a time when the economy is quite strong.
Sure.
And we are past the bad asset quality cycle.
Yes.
And everyone has capital, everyone has liquidity. So this is a time to, focus on lending and taking risks and high margin lending.
In fact, the RBI has also prodded most of these banks to go ahead and lend more, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the verdict. In fact, that's the expectations that we are factoring in for both ICICI Bank and Kotak Bank. Steady set of numbers expected. Of course, these banks will be reacting to their numbers on Monday when the markets reopen, and we will be getting you a review of these numbers and how they stack up when it comes to the peers who've already reported numbers. So for that, do tune into Moneycontrol on Monday. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this Earnings Central, and for more news and updates, keep watching Moneycontrol.
1st February 2023, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the last full union budget before 2024 elections. India's most awaited financial event comes in the midst of global slowdown, inflation, liquidity tightening, geopolitical tensions, and re-emergence of COVID-19. Will India look to fire up its manufacturing? Will India build a moat against global uncertainties? What will the budget have for the middle class? Watch the complete coverage of Budget 2023. Real-time analysis, expert takes all day on Moneycontrol. Log on to www.moneycontrol.com for more.